Okay, so for the multiple choice question, first question is what is the main goal of memory management in operating system? So the answer is B, to allocate and manage memory efficiently. So for the second question is which of the following memory management techniques lead to internal fragmentation? So the answer would be A, which is paging, and number three, which memory management scheme divides memory into equal fixed size blocks? So the answer is B, also paging.
So, for the question 4, what is the main purpose of visual memory in operating system? So, we have four choices. A, to increase processor speed. B, to allow programs to run without worrying about physical memory limitation. C, replace RAM completely. D, store frequently used file permanently. So the answer is B, to allow programs to run without worrying about physical memory limitation. Next question, what is the term for CPU for when CPU most of the time swapping pages in and out rather than executing instruction? So the answer is B, thrashing, because thrashing is when the system busy swapping the page in and out and not get the real work done. So 6, which of the following is a page replacement algorithm? From A, first fit, B, LRU, C, body system, and D, segmentation. So the answer is B, least recently used. So proceed with fill in the blanks. So first, the question is the memory management technique that allows processes to be divided into variable size sections is called something. So the answer is segmentation. So as we know that we can highlight the keyword that is divided into variable size section. That is meaning for segmentation. Okay. Number 2, the question is in the something, memory is divided into partitions of equal or different sizes. And each partition can hold only one process. So the answer is partition allocation. So third, the technique used to reduce external fragmentation by shifting processes in memory so that they are contiguous is called something. So the answer is compaction. All right.
Okay, so hi, my name is Aaron Azri bin Kamar Azman with the student ID 010CS010855 and I'll be explaining regarding the first question for the matching question. So it's relatively simple. The following image is mismatched. So our answer is as the following. So the memory management technique for paging is it will lead to internal fragmentation. Segmentation, it will lead to external fragmentation. Fixed partitioning, it will divide the memory into fixed size blocks. Dynamic partitioning will divide memory into variable size logical segments. And lastly, the body system will split memory into power of two blocks. That's it. There's not much to explain here as it's just a matching question.
Matching question. Paging matches with divides memory into fixed size blocks. Segmentation matches with divides memory into variable size blocks. Page fault matches with occurs when a requested page is not in memory. Thrashing matches with excessive paging causing performance degradation. TLB or translation local site buffer matches with high-speed cache for page table entries.
Hi, my name is Hazmi Shafiq Ramadan. So now I'm gonna explain about subjective question from question number 1 and question number 3. So question number 1, list and briefly explain 5 principal requirements for memory management. The answer is 5 principal requirements for memory management is number 1 is relocation, the ability to move process in memory during execution to maximize processor utilization. Number 2, protection, ensures one process does not access the memory of another process. Number 3, sharing. Enables multiple processes to access the same memory space. Number 4, logical organization. Supports modular programming by organizing memory into segments. Number 5, physical organization. Manage the mapping between logical and physical memory. Question number 2. Briefly explain the concepts of paging and segmentation as well as their key difference in memory management. Answer for paging. Paging divides physical memory and logical memory, process memory, into fixed size blocks, while segmentation divides memory into variable size segments based on logical division, like functions, arrays, or data structures. Here is the key difference between paging and segmentation. From memory division aspect, paging a fixed size pages, while segmentation variable size segments. From fragmentation aspect, paging is internal fragmentation, while segmentation external fragmentation. From address structure aspect, paging is page number plus offset, and segmentation is segment number plus offset. For question number 3, explain the advantage of paging over partitioning in memory management. The answer is the advantage of paging over partitioning is number 1, eliminates external fragmentation. Memory is allocated in fixed size blocks. Number 2, simplifies memory allocation. Any free frame can be used, increasing flexibility. Number 3, efficient use of memory enables efficient swapping and better memory utilization. And number 4, supports virtual memory, allows process to use more memory than physically available. So that's for question number 1. And
So for subjectives, question 4. The question is briefly explain the basic definition and purpose of virtual memory. The answer is for definition of virtual memory. So virtual memory is a memory management technique that gives an application the illusion of having a large memory space while using both physical memory, that is RAM, and disk space. Purpose of virtual memory: first, to enable execution of larger programs. Second, to allow multitasking by isolating processes. And third, improve memory utilization and system stability. So that is for question 4. So let's go for question 5. A system is experiencing a high number of page faults and performance has dropped significantly. What is this situation called? And how can it be mitigated? So the answer is this situation is called crashing. So it occurs when a system spends multi-swapping pages in and out of memory, they're executing actual processes. Due to insufficient physical memory to hold the working set of active processes, crashing can be mitigated by increasing physical memory, or we call it RAM, using a better space page replacement algorithm or adjusting the degree of multiprogramming. So that is for subjective question. So this is.
Okay, hello, my name is Aaron Azri bin Kamal Asman, and I will be explaining question 1 for the algorithm questions. So we can see here from question A, it asks us which of the following string of requests will fail due to a lack of available memory. Okay, so how this is broken down into is first 1 megabyte of block is 1 M, and then it's broken down into the second diagram. So what do we know about the body system? The body system puts in only allowing data in the form of the power of 2 to be allocated. So we'll start with request 150k. Okay, so 150k, we can allocate for 256k, so it is sufficient. Then we move to 50k, which is we will be able to use 64k, 64k for 50, so that's also sufficient. Then 80, we are forced to use 128 k because that is the only power of 2 that is available for 80. So 180k, the next one, we allocate another 256k, which is also still available, so that will be sufficient. Then for the 70k, we will allocate another 128k for the 70k, which makes it sufficient. For 90k, it will be allocation of another 128k, which is uh, uh, sufficient for the power of 2 for 90k. Now 120k fail because we need another 128k block, but there is no more 128k block. So the request 120k falls. So that is the simple explanation for A. So B, they will ask us how much memory is wasted due to internal fragment, how much is wasted due to external fragmentation. So first, we calculate we draft the answer into a table like this. So request and allocate a block, and we search for the use. So this means the internal waste will be the allocated block minus what is used. You will get the internal waste. So you do that for all the requests up to 90 because 120, the previous 120 was not sufficient enough to carry out 120k. So we total up all the internal waste, which is 106 plus 14, plus 48 plus 76 plus 58 plus 38. You will get 340 kilobytes of internal fragmentation, which is internal waste. So external fragmentation is, so you uh, total up all of the used. Wait, um, you total up all of the used allocated blocks, and then you minus it with the total block, and then you will get the remaining external fragmentation. So it's 256 plus 64 plus 128 plus 256 plus 128 plus 128. You get that answer, which is 960. So 1024 from the 1 megabyte minus 960, you will get 64 kilobytes, which is why you get 64 kilobytes of external fragmentation. That is all for question number 1. Okay, so I'll be explaining for question 2 algorithm. So the first feed, we will take 20k as its exact, and then the second one we will take 45 because it is the first hole after 25. Then we will take 45k because it's the remaining hole that is after 10. So the next feed, the first one is 45 because it reutilizes the previous hole, which is 45. So it starts with 45. And then for we take 40 because it is the next available match. And then 25 because it's the one that fits, because 5 has already been filled. Okay, and then C, you try to the best fit. That means we try to reduce the amount of waste, so we'll just take the most accurate. So 20, there is 20. 25, there is 25. So 15 is the closest available space for 10, so we will take 15. So it's not that hard. We just have to manage according to the descriptions for each feed. Okay, so I will be explaining algorithm question 3. So what do we have to understand regarding question number 3? So um, it's only valid if the offset is shorter or less than segment length. Otherwise, the answer is segment fault. So to compute that, the physical address of the given virtual addresses, if the address changes instead of what this indicates. Yes, so A 2512. So the offset for this 500, the segment is 2 base 5500 and length 5.2. So the offset is 512, which is out of bounds. It must be less than 512. So our answer is given segment fault. So B is base is 330, length 128. So it's within the bounds. The offset is 64, which is less than 128. So it is allowed. So 330, which is the base, is added with the offset of 64, which will be given the answer 394. So C, you are given a segment of 3, the base 550, and the length is 1024. So the offset is within the bounds. 1023 is lower than 1024. So the physical address can be obtained by the length plus by the base. So 1024 plus by 550. So you will get the answer 1574. And lastly, it's D. Segment 0, base is 3000, length is 256. So the offset is 128, which is within the bounds, which is less than the length, 256. So you get the physical address, 3000 plus by 128, you get what 3128. It's very relatively simple. You just need to know if um, the base is the offset is less than the length, then you can just take the base and you just take the offset and you plus it with the base. You get the answer. That's all. Okay, so lastly, I will be explaining question 4 for the algorithm. So the first one is V4 replacement. So what is to clearly understand the question, you have to understand what it's asking. So show the successive pages residing in 3 frames using replacement policies. So that means at one time it can only contain 3 numbers or pages. So for the replacement policy is, so let's say if there's 4, that means there must be one page that must be removed. So we have to find that if that the number that was removed is following the replacement policy. So the first one is FIFO replacement, which means that the policy replaces the oldest number in number of page faults. So let's start with the first one. So first one, yes. So it doesn't start yet. 0, yes. 2, yes. Okay, so it starts now. So 3 enters the queue. So 1 is removed. So yes. 4, then it removes 0. Yes. Step 6, 2 enters. 4 enters, but 2 is not removed. So no. So the second one, 0 enters and 2 is removed. So yes. 1 enters. So 3 is removed. So yes. 1 enters, and but 4 is not removed. So no. So, and then the 10, step 10, 3 enters, 4 is removed. So yes. 11 step, 3 enters, but 0 is not removed. So no. And the last step is 2 enters and 0 is removed. So yes. So the oldest page is removed approximately 9 times. So for B, the policy that replaces the last recently used page. Okay, so as usual, 1 yes, 2 yes, 3 yes. Okay, so it starts from 4. 3 enters and 1 is removed. Yes. Okay. So fifth step. 4 enters and 0 is moved. Okay. So the sixth one is 2 enters but 2 is not removed. So no. Seventh step. 0 enters but 4 is sorry 3 is removed. So yes. 1 is entered and 4 is removed. So yes. So the ninth one is 4 enters and 2 is removed. So yes. 10th step is 3 enters and 0 is removed. So yes. 11th step and 12th step. So you can see that the 4 and 3 are removed when 0 and 2 enter. So yes. So you get a page fault of 11. So optimal replacement. Optimal replacement is like a future. It's based on the future. Which one is the least likely to repeat itself in the future? So first, second, and third, yes. So it starts from 4. So the page that is replaced is 1. So yes, because it's gonna be the 1 will not come. Will not come. It will not come for a long time. So yes, and then 0 is removed because 0 won't come in for a long time. So 2, 3, and 4. So nothing is removed. So no. 7, 2 is removed. So yes, because 2 is not gonna come for a long time. Then for step 8, 3 is removed, which is not gonna be present for a long time. Then 9 is no because nothing is removed. 10 is 4 because 4 is not gonna be returning for a long time. 11 is no because nothing is removed. 12 is yes because 1 is not going to be reappearing very soon. So the answer for number 4 would be 9, 11, and 9. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
For the question 1B algorithm, so in the previous problem, at the time of the failed request, how much memory is wasted due to internal fragmentation and how much is wasted due to external fragmentation? So internal fragmentation is when a process doesn't use all the memory that was allocated to it. But for the external fragmentation is wasted space outside the allocated blocks. So this table is my calculation. So for all the requests, we have assigned the allocated block that is suitable, and the internal fragmentation is this one internal waste, which is the allocated block has been subtracted by the request. So for example, the request 150 kilobyte, we have assigned with allocated block 256 kilobyte. So it has used the same like request 150. So the internal waste is 256 minus with 150, which is we'll get the internal waste for this request 106 kilobyte. So we have calculated for all the requests from 150 until 90, except the 128 kilobyte, which is the failed request. So for the total internal fragmentation, we add all together is internal waste 106 kilobyte until 38 kilobyte. So we got the total internal fragmentation is 340 kilobyte. So for the external fragmentation is like I said, the wasted outside the allocated block. So for 10108 kilobyte, we assigned with the 64 kilobytes because it is the only remaining memory, 64 kilobyte. But the 128 kilobyte cannot be located from that. So this 64 kilobytes is unusable for current request, and it makes it become the external fragmentation 64 kilobyte. So thank you.
Question 1, Part A. The first request is 150k. The nearest power of 2 that is above 150k is 256k. Thus, 256k block is assigned to the first request. The remaining block is 1024 minus 256 is 768k. The second request is 50k. The nearest power of 2 for 50k is 64k. 64k is reserved for 50k block. The remaining memory is 768k minus 64k, which is 704k. The third request is 80k. The nearest power of 2 to 80k is 128. Thus, 128k block is reserved for request 3. The remaining is 704 minus 128, which is 576k. The fourth request is 180k. The nearest power of 2 is 256k. The solution is to allocate 256k block to 180k request. The remaining is 576 minus 256k, which is 320k. Request 5 is 70k. The nearest power of 2 is 128. The solution is to allocate 128k block for the 70k. The remaining is 320 minus 128, equaling to 192k. Request 6 is 90k. The nearest power of 2 for 90k is 128k. The solution is to allocate 128k block to the 6th request. The remaining from this is 192 minus 128, which is 64k. Request 7 is 120k. The nearest power of 2 for 120k is 180k. Since there is only 64k left, the request cannot be filled. Failure occurs here. Question 1 Part B. Internal fragmentation is allocated memory minus requested memory. For the first one is 150k. The allocated memory is 256. The internal fragmentation is 256 minus 150, which is 106k. The second one is 50k. The allocated memory is 64k. The internal fragmentation is 64 minus 50, equaling 14k. The third one is 80k. The allocated memory is 128k. The internal fragmentation is 128 minus 80k, equals to 48k. The fourth one is 180k. The allocated memory is 256k. The internal fragmentation is 256 minus 180 equals to 76k. The fifth one is 70k. The allocated memory is 128. The internal fragmentation is 128 minus 70 equals to 58k. The final one is 90k. The allocated memory is 128. The internal fragmentation is 128 minus 90 equals to 38k. The total internal fragmentation is 106 plus 14 plus 48 plus 76 plus 58 plus 38, which equals to 340k. The total memory used for the allocated blocks is 256 minus plus 64 plus 128 plus 256 plus 128 plus 128, which equals to 960. The remaining unused memory is 1024 minus 960 equals to 64k. Question 3. Compute the physical address of the given virtual address, segment number and offset below. If the address generates a segment fault, please indicate. For question A, segment 2 with offset 512. Segment 2 has base 5500 with length 512. The offset of the question is 512. It is out of bounds because it must be below 512. The answer to this question is segment fault. For B, segment 1 with offset 64. Segment 1 has base 330 with length to 128. Since the offset is 64, it is within bounds because it is less than 128. So the physical address is 330 plus 64 equals 394. For question C, segment 3 with offset of 1023. Segment 3 has base 550 and length 1024. Since the offset is 1023, it is less than 1024. So the physical address is 550 plus 1024, which is 1574. For question D, segment 0 with offset of 128. Segment 0 has base 3000 and length 256. Since the offset is 128, which is less than 256, the physical address is 3000 plus 128. The answer is 3128.
K, 90K, 120K, and 130K. So first, to start with 1 MB block, and then we divide it to 2, 512K and 512K, and then divide again to become 256K, 256K. And first request 550K is 256K. So second request 50K. So we divide 256K to 128K and then divide it again with 64K, and then B is the answer for request number 2, 50K, 64K, and then third 80K. We take the 120K here for answer C, and D, the request is 180K is 250. We divide 520K, 512K to 256K, and this is the answer here. And then request 70K, we divide 256K into 128K, and this is the answer. And request 90K, we take the 128K from one more on the right side, and then because for 120K is failed, there's no more slot for it. So the first request that we fail in the following string of requests due to lack of available memory is 120K. This one, the second last. So B, in the previous problem, at the time of the failed request, how much memory is waste due to internal fragmentation and how much is waste due to external fragmentation? So for request 150K, allocated block is 256K, use is 150, and internal waste is 106. For request 50K, the allocated block is 64K and the use 50, internal waste is 14. For 80K, the allocated block is 128 and the use and the internal waste is 48K. For 180 requests, the allocated block is 256 KB and we use it 180 and the internal waste is 76. And request 70K, allocated block 128 KB, the use is 70 and the internal waste is 58. And lastly 90 KB, the allocated block 128 the use is 90 and internal waste is 38 kb. So total internal fragmentation is 106 plus 14 plus 48 plus 76 plus 58 plus 38. The answer will be 340 kb for total internal fragmentation. So external fragmentation is remaining memory 64 kb. After all above allocation, but no blocks of 128 kb can be allocated from that. This 64 kb is unusable for the current request. So external fragmentation is 64 kb. So for question 2, on a system using dynamic partitioning, assume memory is allocated as specified in figure below before additional requests for 20, 25k and 10k in order are received. So this is a use whole, use 10k, whole 22k, use 20k, whole 15k, use 10k, whole 20k, and this is the last placement. Use 30k, whole 40k, use 10k, whole 45k, use 20k, whole 25k. Determine which holes will be allocated to each of the memory requests using the following schemes by filling the appropriate answer in this empty space. So the answer is available holes from whole 20k onwards, whole 20k, whole 40k, whole 45k, whole 25k, whole 22k, whole 15k. So for first fit, begins to scan memory from the beginning and choose the first available block that is large enough. Choose first if hole from beginning. So for 20k request, the hole is 20k. 25k request, the hole is 40k. The 10k request is 45k. So next fit it begins to scan memory from the location of the last placement and choose the next available block that is large enough. So choose first hole from last placement to easily understand. So for 20k request, we take 45k, 25k request, 40k hole, and 10k request is 25k hole. So C, best fit. Choose the block that is closest in size to the request. Choose smallest hole. So 20k, 20k request to 20k hole, 25k request to 25k hole, 10k request to 15k hole. So this is the answer. So for question 3, on a system using simple segmentation, each process will have a segment table. For segment 0, base 3000, length 256. Segment 1, base 330, length 228. Segment 2, base 5500 and the length 512. And segment 3, 550 and the length 1024. Compute the physical address of the given virtual address. Segment number offset below. If the address generates a segment fault, please indicate so. So 2 segment number and 512 offset. Segment 2 base 5500, length 512. So offset 512 out of bound. It must be below than 512. So the answer is segment 4. For segment number 1, offset 64, segment 1, base 330, length 128. So offset 64 within bounds, below than 128. So physical address 330 plus 64 equal to 394. The answer is 394. So C, segmentation 3, offset 1023, segment 3, base 550, length 1024, offset 1023, within bounds, below 1024, physical address 1024 plus 550. The answer will be 1574. For the last question, 0 segmentation and 128 offset. Segment 0, base 3000, length 256, offset 138 within bounds, below 256, physical address equal to 3000 plus 128. So the answer will be 3128. So for question 4, In virtual memory paging system, references are made by a program to the following pages: 10234, 201, 4302. Show the successive pages residing in 3 frames using replacement policies below. For each replacement policy state, find the number of page faults that occurs. So A, FIFO replacement. This policy replace the oldest page with number of page faults. So step 1, reference 1, memory FIFO Q1 from step 1 to step 12. The reference is 1023 420143002, referring to this one. So, and then the memory FIFO queue is 10102 023 234 234 340 401 and 401 013 013 132. The page fault is yes. This is yes. Page fault. Page fault. This is not page fault. This is page fault. Not page fault and not page fault. Three no and 9 yes. So and then for LRU replacement, this policy replace the least recently used page. So memory FIFO queue is 11002 023 234 342 420 201 014 143 430 030 So page fault, yes, no, 2, only 1 no. So that's mean 11 yes. And then for optimal replacement, 110 102 023 302 34 234 340 401 401 013 013 032. So page replace 102341. So only 1, 2, and 3 no. So total FIFO page faults is 9. Total LFU page fault is 11. Total optimal page fault is 9. That's all for me.
Of request due to lack of available memory. So the request should start with 150K to 50K to 80K to 180K to 70K to 90K to 120K to 130K. So the answer is for M 1 M byte block. So it should 1 M. So for the request 150K. So as we know, for the body system, we divide each block to two same size block. So for this, for 1M, we divide into 512K and 512K. So after that, we divide it to 5C and to 5C again. So for the request 50K, so we want 50K. So we divide to 5C again to 128K and 128K, and so the 50K for 128 is large. So we divide again into 64 and 64. So it can occupy for 50K requests. For the 80K request, so we can go into 128K. So for 180K request, we can go to 256. So 70K request, we can go into 128, and 90K request, we can go into 128K. But for the last 120K request, we got failed because the available only 64K. Not enough for 12K request. Okay, so B is in the previous problem. At the time of the failed request, how many memory is wasted due to internal fragmentation, and how much is wasted due to external fragmentation. So the answer is, so we got for the 150 KB request, we allocate 256. So we use 150. So we got the waste is 106. So from allocated block, we can divide with 150. We got the use. So for allocated block, we divide with use, we can get the waste. So the waste is 106 for the first request. For the second request, we have 50 requests, so allocated block is 64 and use is 50, and we got the internal waste is 14 KB. So for the third request, we got 18. One allocated block is 1 to 8, and use is 80, and internal waste we got 48. So for the fourth, 180, allocated is 256, use is 180, and waste is 76. And for the fifth request, 70, so allocated is 1 to 8, and it use 70 KB, and for the waste, we minus the allocated with use, so we got the waste is 58. So for the request 90, for the last request, we got 1 to 8 block. So we got the use is 90. So the waste is 38. So we want to calculate the total fragmentation. So we calculate all the waste 106, 8, 14, 48, 66, 58, and 38. And we got 340 KB. For the external fragmentation, the remaining memory, we got the 64 KB after all above allocations. So after all allocation, we got an extra block that is 64. That is not a group of any request. So, but no block of 1 to 8 KB can be allocated from that. This 64 KB is unusable for current request. So external fragmentation is 64 KB. So for question 2, on a system using dynamic partitioning, assume memory is allocated as specified in figure below before additional requests for 20K, 35K, and 10K in order are received. So we got so we can know this diagram use 10K, 22K, and so on. So determine the which hole will be allocated to each of memory requests using the following scheme by filling in appropriate answer in the empty space. The answer is available holes from hole 20K onwards. So we got the answer 30K, 40K, 45, 32, 25, 22K, 50K. So for the policy of first fit, we begin to scan memory from the beginning and choose the first available block is large enough. We choose first hole from beginning. So we know the request is 20, 35, and 10. So the first hole is 20, and the second hole that is available, first available is 40, and so on is 45. So the policy for next fit is begin to scan memory from location from last placement. Example, it start with last, it scan with last to first first available hole that is fit for it. So there is Netflix. So for the request 20K, 35K, 10K, we got first hole that is width is 45K, and the second hole is 40K, and third hole is 25K. So for the last policy is the best fit policy. We choose the block that is closest in size to the request. So we want to choose the smallest holes. So for advantage for best fit is no, what you say, uh we what we minimize the waste from the request. So for the best fit, we got 20K for the first request. So the best fit is 20K. For 25K, so best fit is 25K, and 10K is 50K. Okay, that's it. Okay, for question 3, on a system using simple segmentation, its process will have a segment table. For segment 0, we have base is 3K, which is length is 256. For segment 1 is 330, and the length is 128. For segment 2, we have base 5500 and length is 512. And for segment 3 is segment 3 for the base is 550 and the length is 1024. So the question 1, compute the physical address of the given virtual address, segment number or an offset below. If the address generate a segment fault, so please indicate. So for segment 2, this is length 512. So segment 2, we got the base for 5500 and length 512. So for the offset is 512 and the outbound must be less than 512. So the answer is segment 4. So for B, for segment 1, we got the base is 330 and length is 128. So we want the offset is 54. The bound is less than 128 and physical address must be 330, the base plus the offset. So we got the address is 394. So for C, there is 73, base 550, length is 1024. So for the offset is 1023. So for the bound is less than 1024. So physical address 1024 plus 550. So the answer is 1574. For D, segment 0, we got the base is 3K, length is 256. And the offset is 128. For the outbound is less than 256 and physical address we plus with the base and the offset. So we got the physical address is 3128. Okay, for question 4, a virtual memory paging system. References are made by a program to the following pages. So 102342014302. So the question 1 show the successive pages residing in 3 frames using the replacement policies below. For each replacement policy state, find the number of page faults that occur. So for V4 replacement, this policy replaces the oldest page in the number of page fault. So for the step 1, we refer to 1 and the memory first. So is 1, so page fault is yes. So for step 2, refer is 0. So memory before Q is 10, so page fault is yes. For step 3, refer is 2, and the Q is 102, and page fault is yes. So for step 4, reference is 3, and the Q is 023, and page fault is yes. And step 5, reference is 4, And the QA 234 and page 4 is yes, was step 6, server is true, Q is 234, and page 4 is no. For the 7, step 7 refresh 0, so the Q is 340, the page 4 is yes. For step 8, the reference is 1, the Q is 401, and page 4 is yes. For step 9, reference is 4, Q is 401, so page 4, and no page 4. So step 10, reference is 3, memory Q is 013. Yeah, yes, we got the page 4 here. For step 11, we got the reference is 0 and the Q is 013 and no page 4. For step 12, we got the reference is 2, the Q is 132 and page 4 is yes. So for LRU replacement, this policy replaces the least recent use space. So for the step 1, we got the reference for 1. So the Q is 1. So yes, we got the page 4. So for the step 2, we got the reference 0. So the Q is 10. So we got page 4. So step 3, we got the reference is 2. So the Q is 102. So yes. Step 4, reference is 3. The Q is 023. So page 4 is yes. Step 5, the reference is 4. The Q is 234. And page 4 is yes. So step 3, reference 2. So the Q is 342 and page no page 4. So step 7, reference is 0. So the Q is 420, the page 4 is yes. So step 8, reference is 1. The Q is 201 and yes, we got the page 4. So step 9, reference is 4. The Q is 014. So yes. Step 10, reference is 3. Q is 143. So yes. Step 11, reference is 0. So Q is 430 and yes. Step 12, reference is 2. Q is 302. So yes. So for optimal replacement, so the step is for the step 1, we got the reference 1, so Q is 1. So no place is replaced. So yes, we got the page 4. Step 2, replace 0, so the Q 10. So no place replaced. So yes. Step 3, reference 2, 2 is 102 and no page replaced. And page 4 is yes. So step 5, reference 4, Q is 234, page replaced 0. So the page 4 is yes. For step 6, reference is 2, the Q is 234, the page replaced is no. And page 4 is no. So step 7, reference is 0. Q is 340 and page replace is 2. So we got the page 4. Step 8, we got reference is 1. Q is 401. Page replace is 3. Page 4 is yes. Step 9, we got reference is 4. The Q is 401. No page replace and we got no page 4. So step 10, we got reference is 3, no, sorry, Q is 013, no page. So we got page 4 is replaced. So yes, we got page 4. For step 11, we got reference is 0. Q is 013. No page replaced, so page 4 is 0. So for step 12, reference to Q is 032. Page replace is 1 and no, and we got the page 4. So total fee for page 4 is 9. So we got yes, it's 9. Yes for fee 4 is 9 and total LFU page 4 is 11. So we got the optimal patch fault is 9 HP. So that is from me. Bye bye. Thank you.